Coming up on Cards and Collectables, an epic Nintendo collection with rare consoles, games and more. And how this master set collector turned his passion into a thriving business. For years, video gaming struggled to gain mainstream popularity. Early systems like the Atari and Intellivision laid the groundwork, but it wasn't until Nintendo entered the picture that everything changed, setting the stage for the trillion-dollar industry we know today.
My earliest memories of Nintendo is probably my childhood. Friends would come over, we'd stay up all night, get pizza, get some soft drinks, and just, on the couch multiplayer. It was the best fun. It was one Christmas and I opened my present up and there was a Super Nintendo. And as I got older, I just wanted to relive my childhood again. Why don't I give you a tour of my Nintendo room? Here is my wall of rare Nintendo consoles. Over here are my display cabinets and games of all my rare consoles and different games and handhelds. On this side here, we've got all different games from all different Nintendo consoles. My CRT TV setup where I can play my old retro games. Now we'll swing around here. Right here we have a Banjo-Kazooie Standee from 1996, my Nintendo Power Guide magazines, all of my Nintendo 64 games on display. So in this room here, we have my rare Nintendo Kiosk machines that back in the day, we go into the store and try all the different new games. The Nintendo 64 one is very rare. There's 4 or 5 complete ones left in Australia. One, the arcade machine. I got it from a indoor mini golf store that was closing down. I was a little bit cheeky. I borrowed the work van and said I was doing something else. Drove the work van all the way out to Penrith, picked up this arcade machine, drove it to my house, chucked it in my house, went back to work like nothing happened. I feel very nostalgic when I'm holding my old Nintendo games, especially things I didn't have when I was a kid that I've collected now. It's all about preserving history. Before we had YouTube and before we had walkthroughs, we had Nintendo Power Guides. This here is how we solved games back in the day. Yes, you could ring up and go to the Nintendo hotline, $5 a minute, how do I solve this? Or you could go and buy a Nintendo guide, and these things saved us. I'll open this one up for example, and I've got the persons back in the day. They wrote on this piece of paper where all the different secret bonus rooms were, where all the cheats were. So now I'm preserving, that's 30 years old, and I'm keeping that in this magazine because it's a cool story to talk about. As the years go by, you get more and more, so you have to find ways to make the best of the room you have. I've got glass display cabinets, bookcases, stands. One of the first things people see when they come into my room is my display of my Nintendo 64 games. I managed to pick these up from a collector who wanted to hand them over to me. And I've set it up just like a store. So, you come in, you want to buy Mario Kart 64, yep, that one's for that person. The next person comes in, oh, there's still one left. But then the third person will come in, oh no, they're sold out. So that's how I wanted to do it. You come in, it just looks beautiful. You can enjoy the box art. And yeah, I just love it. In terms of how long I've spent collecting my collection, in some ways my whole life, but seriously, probably about 10, 12 years. Nintendo over the years have come up with some pretty cool ideas, but unfortunately when it comes to the Virtual Boy, this was not one of them. It didn't sell well because basically it just gave you a really bad headache. You'd get the game, you'd plug it into your ears, you have the controller and play away, but then after about 5 minutes, you had to take it off because the pixelation, it would give you a massive headache. It didn't sell very well. It came out in 1995 because we just weren't ready for virtual reality technology, but these days it's a cool collector's item and a great talking piece. I've got some Nintendo rare Standees. Standees are store displays and they're extremely rare because these are bits of cardboard that once the game was done, stores just threw them in the bin. And in the 90s, no one thought we were going to be collecting stuff like that. One of the rarest games I have in my collection is Conker's Bad Fur Day. So to have the display Standee that goes with that is so hard to get. I love collecting Nintendo, I've got awesome things, but in terms of what I love the most, you wait till you see my Nintendo 64 collection. It's probably the biggest in the world.
Whether you're looking for singles, boxes or card accessories, Sports Card World has had you covered for over 30 years. Come in and speak with their knowledgeable team about all things cards and collectibles.
Gaming consoles have been around since the 1970s, but by the 1980s, two brands began to dominate the market: Sega and Nintendo. In 1996, the Nintendo 64 hit the global market and spawned some of the most iconic games ever produced, including GoldenEye, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Mario Kart 64, and Super Mario 64. Since then, video game grading has emerged as a great way for collectors to significantly increase the value of their childhood favourite video games, which some of you may still have stored in your parents' garage. In July 2021, during what can only be described as a video game bubble, a high-grade version of Super Mario 64 sold for $2.4 million. For more record sales or to see the value of your collectibles, download the 130 Point app today.
When a passion for collecting starts to outgrow the budget, many collectors turn their hobby into a business. That's exactly what Dominic Zymek did. Starting as a dedicated Fleer master set collector, he transformed his love for cards into a thriving business and a community built for collectors just like him.
My earliest memories is down in Tasmania, being a migrant and didn't have a lot of money, so Fleer was the most attractive option for me to collect, and I started with a few packs, then I bought a few more packs, which turned into a few boxes. You look at it all and go, oh, hang on, I'm getting close to getting a full master set here. You know, I finished that set, and then New Year came around and go, oh, well, let's do it all again, and it just kept going and going. Master set is basically every single card that's officially on the checklist. Unlike just collecting the base sets, it includes every single insert and subset that is produced in that set. In terms of master sets, the ones that I know that I've 100% completed is the 86, 87 Fleer, 94, 95, 95, 96, 2007, 8, 8, 9, 2012, 13. The other years in between, I think I'm between 80 to 95% complete. So this is a binder with my 2011-2012 Fleer retro set. So let's have a quick look. What this stuff is effectively a homage to all the past sets. You can see they are in a binder. Being a master set collector, all my previous old sets, they're all in binders, so I had to continue the tradition. Some of these from 800 cards to the later ones being about 1200 cards, so imagine trying to top load a one-touch full sets of these. To me, just they all belong together. My favourites in this was the Thrill Seekers, Raise the Roof, the autographs, and the PMGs. One of the most iconic sets in the 90s was the Precious Metal Gems, and fortunately enough, Upper Deck were able to release these in Fleer Retro. Looking down on the bench here, I've got the full set of Jordans from 13-14. So here we've got the black, the red, which are numbered to 150, which were in the 90s, the blue numbered to 50, which is a new variant, and the iconic green numbered to 10. Lay down on the counter here, we've got my whole 1986-87 Fleer set. As you can see, it is all graded, and if you look closely, it is all PSA 9. So the 86-87 Fleer set, it's the first licensed mass-produced product where there's a Jordan rookie in it, and there's 6 rookie cards from the Dream Team, being Jordan, Barkley, Drexler, Mullen, Ewing, and Malone. To get that 9, everything needs to be pristine like you would find in a modern pack today. So you have to have perfect corners, almost perfect centering, no blemishes, no sun fading and all that kind of stuff. I've decided to also get all the stickers, which is all the 11 additional stickers. And cherry on top of the whole thing is the PSA 9 Seal Pack. After buying over several years, it led me to create the Gimco website. The main drivers for that was there wasn't anywhere local that made it easy to buy and sell cards, and I wanted to get to know more local collectors that had similar interests. It is focused purely on collectibles, and the fees are cheaper. It's easy to use. Breaks can sell out in minutes. You got to be online quick. Some people will sit there refreshing all day waiting for new breaks to pop up. After several years online, we ended up opening up the Gimco Hobby Shop, which is a physical store. Before COVID, we used to have trade days and all that kind of stuff, and people would get together. And the driver behind the shop was, we'll bring an atmosphere back. Having that available space for collectors just to be able to sit down, open their boxes, trade, and also organise play, that to me was the thing that I needed, not just for them, but also for myself. With a full-time job, it does actually help you unwind and enjoy your hobby, When collectors come into the shop, I want them to feel welcomed, like it's a safe space for them to basically geek out and go, this is my world, this is what I collect, I don't have to hide from it.
Originally a promotional item, what were the first trading cards packaged with? A. Soda bottles, B. Cigarette packs, C. Candy wrappers, or D. Movie tickets? Find out after the break. Welcome back. Did you select the right answer? Let's find out. When the Nintendo 64 launched in 1996, it revolutionised how games were played. At the heart of this shift was GoldenEye, the groundbreaking first-person shooter that redefined the genre. Because of this pivotal moment in gaming history, the N64 holds a special place in a lot of gamers' hearts.
My rarest Super Nintendo console would have to be my Donkey Kong Country 5-game crate. Now this is a large, big box, but what makes this special, it's not just Donkey Kong Country, one of the best games of all time. Inside this console, yes, we get this one, but we also get Super Mario All-Stars inside the box. Really cool, really rare, and extremely valuable. Things I bought, say 10 years ago, maybe were a couple of $100. Now you're looking $600, $700, $800 for that same item. Things are just going up and up, nostalgia's going up, and people are just looking to buy back their childhood, really. My all-time favorite console is Nintendo 64. I'm continually looking for new Nintendo 64s. I've got almost 60 complete in-box Nintendo 64 consoles from all over the world. This is my Nintendo 64 Wall of Fame, I suppose I could put it. Some really rare Scandinavian Sweden consoles, this NHL 99 console, the Perfect Dark, the 1080 snowboarding one, they're from Scandinavia, Sweden, worth maybe $5,000 each, depending on condition. I've got a rare Zelda Ocarina of Time one from Belgium, 250 of them only ever made. If you're a Nintendo fan, you know that is the best game ever made. So that is probably the most sought after console I have in my collection. So the value is through the roof. When I first started collecting, I wanted to collect all 16 color variants of the Nintendo 64. The jungle green, ice blue, smoke grey, watermelon red, fire orange, great purple. The hardest one to find is the Just Go 30th anniversary one. It's grey with a transparent white. That was only available in Japan in the Just Go stores, and for their 30th anniversary they were doing a Just Go Nintendo 64 console. But the crazy thing is that once that 30th anniversary was done, they ended up changing the name of the store altogether. We've got the Star Wars Episode 1 racer sets, the long box from Australia. When most people think Nintendo 64, the first thing that pops in your head would have to be GoldenEye. And I have two very rare GoldenEye Nintendo 64. This one here is from the UK, pretty rare, but the rarest one would have to be the one above it from Scandinavia, Sweden. 250 of these were ever made, hard to find, and because it's GoldenEye, it is extremely popular. I've got some rare Pokemon consoles down here, two from Japan with the blue and the orange, and a royal blue Toys R Us exclusive from North America console. My two F1 Grand Prix packs, one's from the UK and one is from France. Again, 250 of them made, really rare. Got a long box Nintendo 64 from Belgium. It was only sold for a Belgian techno festival. So if you bought this console, it came with a ticket to the festival. Again, only 250 of those consoles were made. And how many of those boxes are left now, I'm not sure, but I've seen maybe 2 or 3 around. Pokemon Snap took me years to get it. I'd say there may be between maybe 5 to 10 left around in the whole world, which is pretty crazy. This is my display case showcasing some of my rare Nintendo 64 individual items. We've got my 4 controllers, come a set of 4, really hard to find. I had to go all the way to America to get this set. A couple of rare games, my signed Charles Martinez voice, Super Mario 64 cart, a non-for-sale Banjo-Tooie. Now, non-for-sale basically means this is for stores only, so you weren't allowed to sell this game. So that game there is worth actually probably a few $1,000s, believe it or not. So this is my rare ice blue Nintendo 64, sealed, brand new, graded, worth $5,000 to $10,000. I'm very lucky to have it. Finding a graded, brand new N64 in today's age is almost impossible to find. It's not a game store, it's actually my personal collection in my house, but I do set it up like a game store because to me, going into Toys R Us and other places when we were kids in the 90s, that was magical. So I want to bring people back to their childhood when they see this, and it makes me happy when I see it as well.
Who remembers NBA Jam? The NBA Jam arcade machine, released by Midway in 1993, redefined basketball video games. With high-flying dunks, outrageous commentary, and real NBA rosters, it became an instant hit in arcades worldwide. Even today, NBA Jam remains one of the most beloved sports games ever. I remember we had NBA Jam in the shop. I would play it every day. I would always be the Chicago Bulls, and I remember, boom shakalaka, he's on fire! Head to our socials and tell us what you remember about NBA Jam.
Long before modern sports cards took over the spotlight, Australia was already home to a rich history of collectibles dating back to the early 1900s. These vintage cards offer a glimpse into the golden eras of Aussie sport. Faded, rare and full of stories, they're more than just collectibles, they're pieces of sporting history.
It was obviously a very different time. You know, people were working long hours in their jobs, they weren't getting paid a lot of money. Times were pretty tough, but a lot of people loved to go to the football games on Saturdays. And then the cigarette cards just sort of complemented the enjoyment of going to the footy. I'm not sure what the English history was. They would have had the soccer cards and also cricket cards, and the Americans would have had their baseball cards. Australia, though, we produced the footy cards. This set here is the 1904 Snyder's and Abraham's set, which was also known as Series A. It is the first Australian-produced set of Australian football cards. These cards were put into cigarette packets. They were basically there as a filler, as a stiffener of the card, of the packet. It's distinctive in that it has full body shots of the players. Just looking at the whole player and their uniform, the long johns they wore, the old boots they wore, which are pretty much work boots. You got South Melbourne, you got Melbourne, you got Carlton, you got Collingwood, you got Essendon. They're quite thin, but again, so hard to find and really good nick. I don't think there's many collectors out there that would say have all of the Snyder's and Abraham set of Australian football cards, because they go from Series A to Series J, however many that is. Fortunately, I do. It's taken me some time to do so. There's 2 very rare Western Australian sets in that group, and they're extremely hard to find. In front of me here is the full set of the 1908 coloured Western Australian set, as I refer to it. You can just see the history there. It's just a 100-year-old card, just feels and even smells different. We think at this stage the sepia set is the earlier version, but it is around that vintage. That's a set of players from the Western Australian League in sepia colours. Interestingly, there's 2 umpires in that set. One of them, believe it or not, is called Ivo Crap. I don't know if he's the reason we have that expression, which I won't repeat on camera, when you don't agree with the decision. The oldest style cards, it's a discrete set, you know how many there are, and I just love the old uniforms and just that history of Australian football. So we're talking 100 years plus. The cigarette packets then are quite small, I think probably 3 centimetres wide, so maybe not even that much. That's quite thin compared to our modern day trading card. My favourite set of all my collections, Dungey Ralph, Sweet Nell, South Australian footballers, that issued in 1906. They're a South Australian set. They're so artistic, they're classical looking. They're a wider card than what we call Series A, the 1904 Snyder set. There's 49 in that set. An interesting mix of teams. There was about 12 Port, 12 South, about 12 Nord, half a dozen or so West Torrens, 4 Sturt and just 1 West Adelaide player. Now you'd be very lucky to get one for under $500. And myself, I've paid closer to $1,000 for some cards. They are super rare, and particularly in that top grade. I honestly don't know many people who've got a full set. I'm a preserver of history. I don't want to damage it. That's my first thought. I want to make sure it's preserved. It is, in most cases, a beautiful work of art.
If you want to see more incredible collecting stories, be sure to like, subscribe and tick the notification bell to be alerted when we drop new videos.